What up, bros? I'm Frank. This is a video review of the Adventure Force Enforcer. In essence, this blaster is a fully automatic flywheel blaster that's incredibly intimidating with a really high initial velocity, pretty powerful. So let's get into the review. Included is the blaster itself, the chain holder thing in 3 different units, the chain itself, a few darts. So let's go over the externals and the function in a bit more detail, starting up at the front. This barrel looks super intimidating, but it doesn't have any functioning twisty knobs, any attachment points, anything like that. It does look really intimidating, kind of like a machine gun shroud, like a heat sink or whatever. Totally realized me stroking it looks funny. Up here is a handle. It pivots nicely, so when you're trying to like change elevation or whatever, it moves nicely in your hand. Moving back is where you load in the chain. A little excessive in size, super intimidating, really big and bulky, crazy big, scary looking. So loading in the chain, you have to hit this little notch up here to open up the top gate. Then you can twist this little red guy here to make it a little easier to slide your chain off. And then it comes off. I've done this a few times. I'm not really good at removing the chain, but I found it's so much easier just to load the chain while it's on the blaster. So I'd recommend that. But putting it back on, kind of the reversal of taking it off. This chain holds 40 darts, which is pretty high capacity, and being full auto, you go through them pretty quick. Further back is where you put in the batteries. It runs on 6 AA batteries, and you get to that by removing these 2 screws and then taking off the plate, throwing them in there, and you're good to go. Slightly further back is the on switch. This is a flywheel blaster, so this is kind of like the rev switch on a lot of Nerf blasters that's underneath the primary trigger, but this is pretty much always on, so when you go into like beast mode and you want to hit somebody, you just turn it on. Now the flywheels are going and it's ready for action. Advantage, you're always hot, ready to go, so you don't have to wait for your flywheels to rev. Disadvantage, you have to listen to that all the time when you're not firing. If I nerfed with this, I would probably just hold my left hand here, waiting to turn it on and off before I wanted to shoot, or I'd like modify it, throw in another rev switch like under here. Moving back to the grip, it is a vertical grip, so it feels a little weird. Usually there's a small like tilt or whatever. It is pretty wide, so it's comfortable for a hand of any size, but it is worth noting it's not especially comfortable to hold like this, like you'd hold like a pistol or a carbine or whatever. It's designed to be held with 2 hands, 1 hand here, 1 hand here. If you do that, it's very comfortable. If you try to shoot like this, it's a little weird. This little orange thing is not a button. I totally wanted it to be like some type of super awesome mode, but it doesn't even move. It's just molded plastic. Kind of a letdown for me personally. And then the trigger. This is a fully automatic blaster without semi-automatic. You cannot go into a mechanical semi, like a controlled semi, but it's pretty easy to just like barely tap it to only shoot 1 at a time. That's because of a slight delay in when you fire and the relatively slow rate of fire. It's pretty easy to pull off after you launch 1. That's it for the external overview. To fire the blaster, you load up the chain, assuming you have batteries in, you turn it on. You have to listen to that. Then you hold down the trigger. Pew pew. Get to the chopper! Some burst firing. Rotating off between Nerf Elite darts and the Dart Zone dart, so you can see both firing. So firing this blaster, it's a ton of fun, man. It shoots hard. I mean, the rate of fire is, I would say, average for a lot of the full auto blasters, but it shoots hard in velocity. Definitely loads of fun, just pew-pew-pewing all day. It's pretty easy to semi-auto or like burst fire if you want to fire 3 or 4 darts at a time. That's also given because it has a slightly lower rate of fire. In my head, I'm also comparing it to very upgraded blasters on lipos and stuff like that. So, of course, everything out of the box is going to be a little slower, but I'd say it's about average for like the rapid strike and everything else that's full auto. But the firing velocity, like I said, is very fast. I put it up on the chronograph with the Dart Zone darts, the included ones, and it got an average of about 88 feet per second. Then I chronographed it with Elite darts for a more fair comparison to other Elite blasters, and it got an average of 93 feet per second. So it shoots hot. and it's awesome. Briefly going over these darts. These are the included Dart Zone darts, and these are Nerf Elite darts. They modified the design of these to make them a little bit longer, so they're pretty much identical. The design is different, but the dimensions are so similar that you can use Nerf Elite darts in the blaster and you can use these guys into Nerf blasters. And I saw slightly improved groupings with the Dart Zone darts, so they were staying a little tighter. I would label them as a little bit more accurate. So reverse compatible, awesome pro. So overall opinion on the Enforcer. Overall, I really like it. It shoots hard velocity-wise. Rate of fire isn't awesome, but it's what you should expect from most full-auto Nerf blasters right now, or foam flinging blasters, not necessarily Nerf brand. It feels awesome just to like spray and shoot like lanes of foam. That's definitely fun. One complaint I would have is the size of it. It's very wide, and this isn't really necessary for the engineering of the blaster. I assume they did it because it looks freaking intimidating and awesome like this, but when you're walking around with it, it's just unnecessary. And I complained about the last Dart Zone belt blaster that belts are just cumbersome to load. This one's like sort of flexible enough that you could load it pretty easily while it's attached, so that's cool. But belts are, I mean, more for like looks rather than practical nerfing. That being said, if you don't mod and you want something that shoots hard, I would definitely recommend the Enforcer. It's shooting, you know, about 90 feet per second, which is considerably faster than the 70 feet per second Elite average right now. So you can buy this unmodified and just like slay people that shoot Nerf Elite darts. And the cross compatibility of the ammo is a big plus. So yeah. Not many cons other than my kind of subjective opinion of how big it is and unnecessary like nonsense. But that's a stylish thing, so if you're into that and this is more like a heavy gunner type thing, like just lane people. 40 darts, high capacity. Not sure if they sell extra chains, and I'm not sure how practical it would be to do that, but you could probably get fast at it. I haven't, you know, unloaded it enough to really get quick at it. But overall, pretty positive opinion. So hopefully I provided you everything you need to know whether or not you'd like to purchase an Enforcer. If you'd like to buy one, I'll put a purchase link in the description box below. That's the review. I'm Frank. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay tactical.